This NBA sports gambling scandal is completely crazy, wild, out of control, and honestly, a little bit of what I thought might be going on. A little bit. Just a touch. Un poco. If you've been living under a rock, I will give you a very brief overview. Big sports scandal in the NBA. FBI Director Kash Patel came out with a huge announcement. Was it the Epstein files? It's never gonna be! Hey, real quick, and I'll explain the NBA scandal, but real quick to Kash Patel. You cross-eyed fuck. If your eyes are going to face two directions, keep one on the whole Epstein thing. Is it possible? Well, the answer is, of course, no, because he's, a Trump person and Trump people can't do anything other than exactly what Trump tells them to. And I'm not saying that the NBA doesn't need to be uncovered here for the problems that were going on gambling-wise. Sure, yes, of course. But keep one of your cross eyes on the Epstein case. He's not going to do it, folks. But we're going to remember. Release the files. Okay? Release them. It's not that hard. Now, to the NBA. Very top level understanding of what's happening here. There's kind of two different buckets that this NBA gambling scandal falls into. One includes high-stakes poker games with La Cosa Nostra. Okay, I'm talking old school, like the type of organized crime that we all yearn for because we watch Francis Ford Coppola movies. The type of crime that people in America are not mad at, but that they support. Is there a racial undertone? I don't know. That's up for you to decide. I'm just here wearing a fur coat. But I'm telling you that they were running poker games where they would bring in a big NBA star, let's just say, I'll just pull a name out of a hat, Chauncey Billups, because they arrested him. They bring a guy in and they go to a bunch of other rich people and they're like, hey, come play this high-stakes poker game. It's going to be a big deal. You know it's legit because big-time athletes are going to be there. Plus, you can rub shoulders with them. You'll become friends. Who doesn't want a famous friend? We all want a famous friend. Plus, a little mob boss, maybe there's a guy in a pinstripe suit standing in the corner eating gabagool. And you know what? That sounds fun. I would go to that. I would go to that event. If the buy-in wasn't so damn high, I'd go to that event. I get it. Now, the problem with illegal gambling events like this is they are unregulated, not regulated. So they had x-ray vision in the table. They could see the cards. They had card counting, all sorts of things, all sorts of fun. They had fun names. Can we read some of the fun names? Because gangsters always have fun names. None of my friends have the gumption to come up with these fun names. Gambling scandal mob names. I know one of them was Albanian Bruce. That's fun. That's great. It's not that creative, but it is fun. Because it gives you a place, it gives you something to sink your teeth in, and then of course, Bruce, cool name. There was a guy named Quack Quack. Okay, this is not as extensive as a list as I want, and I don't really want to get hung up on this, but Quack Quack. The point is, these guys were gambling. And they were bringing in NBA stars to add legitimacy. Now these guys were getting money. Were they getting a percentage? I don't know. Were they even guilty? Also, I don't know. Hasn't come out yet. But Kash Patel thinks he has something here. And based on his other investigations, I would say, who fucking knows it all? Who genuinely knows it all? The second bucket is players in the NBA, Terry Rozier in particular, who himself was involved, or other people who had insider knowledge, trading that insider knowledge to people to place prop bets. What is a prop bet? That's like a little, you can gamble on anything in a game. It's like when you watch the Super Bowl and it's like you can bet on the color of the Gatorade, you can bet on the coin toss. In this case, you could bet on over under points scored, over under assists, And if a guy knew, hey, I'm actually going to be hurt, or you can place this bet and then this guy doesn't play, there's all sorts of ways to trade this insider information. Now, they've come up with examples of it. And to the credit of apps like FanDuel and these websites, they're actually able to notice irregular behavior and flag it usually pretty early on. So it's harder to game the system than you'd think. But how many one-off little moments here and there are happening? Now, when it's part of organized crime, it's a huge problem. If my best friend was the equipment manager for the Chicago Bulls, and he was like, hey, so-and-so, is Caruso on the Bulls? I don't even know who's on the Bulls anymore. Let's say Caruso was on the Bulls. He's going to say, I saw Caruso limping. Is that I guess it is. I assume that's happening, and I would expect them to tell me that. And that's where it's going to get a little sketchy for the league. Now, it's better than a scandal of teams are winning and losing based on this. That would be a real, should we even be watching this scandal? But this brings up the issue of the intertwinement of sports gambling with every single league, every single thing that covers the league. ESPN Bet, they have their own sports book. And it's almost as if there was a reason they didn't want this to happen. It's almost as if. Now, think about it in terms of your own life. What if people could bet on little aspects of what I did at work? Imagine not insider trading on that. I know people they made millions of dollars, but I'm like, what if someone could make 20 grand off whether or not my first at work shit was going to happen before or after lunch? Now, there'd be a ton of data about this. People would be like, he's a morning coffee guy, and everyone knows once he has his morning coffee, he gets that motion going. He might be spraying bowl early in the day. But this is the type of shit that moves markets these days. I follow a guy, and I'm not saying this is good, and I'm not saying it's right. But I follow a guy, and I may have mentioned it on this show, who bets on WNBA players, and he bets their unders based on when he believes their period cycles are. You can say all sorts of things. You can say that's misogynistic. You can say it's gross. You can say it's the funniest concept ever for gambling content. And you could say that I'm winning about 60% of the time, which is statistically significant. You could also say that. And at that point, we're just talking about data. We're really not talking about feelings, are we? Unless you're one of those players and we're about to bet on you, if you're catching my drift. The point is, if there were tiny little things that people could bet on about me throughout the day, it would almost be rude of me not to tell my friends, hey, I didn't eat that much last night. I'm thinking of doing an afternoon coffee today. I might not shit until after lunch, plus lunch is Mexican, might run through me. You're not going to tell your boy a little bit. You're not going to tell your boy a little bit of that. You might tell your boy a little bit of that. It's like we're all in the mob. Now, I find this story interesting for a few different reasons. Okay, 1, juicy. 2, nicknames. Let's move those to the side. Mainly, I find it interesting because it includes 2 different things. The dangers and problems of unregulated gambling and the dangers and problems of regulated gambling. It almost provides you no clear total solution, because if the initial thought is, well, having all these prop bets and all this regulated gambling and how easy it is and readily available it is for gambling at all times means we should definitely stop letting everyone do all this betting. It's going to taint the game. It's going to be a problem. But then the flip side is, actually, when you do have this sort of more regulated gambling, these websites can catch irregular behavior. They can report it to the NBA, what the NBA does with it. A little bit of organized crimey too. They cleared Terry Rozier. Some people say it's why they made Michael Jordan play baseball. It's a story for a different day. So let's say we outlaw it. It's done. No more legal gambling. Let's get rid of it. It's been a problem. It's bad for society. It only serves to enrich the gambling companies, and we know all that. Hey, fuckface, you're not going to win. By the way, if a gambling company wants to support this pod, I'll take the money. I'm just still going to say that you're probably not going to win. You win a bit. I win a bit. I like it. I do it. I'm not lying. Don't do it. Unless I have a promo code at a later date. So if we outlaw it, we're not going to stop gambling. We're just not. Talking about sports is boring without the gambling component. It's a sad but true truth. When you watch these game shows and then these morning show, whatever, they're talking about the games and they're just picking teams to win. It's like, okay, yeah, just pick the favorites every time and you'll be fine. And maybe every once in a while you pick an underdog. It's like most games, we have an idea of who is going to win. And knowing the spread, knowing the true, what the gambling market, what people think, and then understanding what everyone assumes is going to happen and then finding out what actually happens, that's a lot of what makes the game interesting. There are entire sports podcasts just dedicated to making picks against the spread. That's what makes it fun in a lot of ways from a dialogue perspective. I'm not saying go out and bet your money. You will lose. I'm just saying it's fun. It helps us understand sports. But let's say we outlaw it and we move back to another world. We're going to keep gambling, and now it's going to be regulated by who? La Cosa Nostra. You're going to have a guy that you got to go to place a bet. And it would be nice to have human connection. It's nice to get on the phone with a guy named Big Tony and talk a little bit. Hey, how you doing? How's your family? No one ever does that on FanDuel. I always get an app that's like, hey, are you going to kill yourself? I'm like, no, dude, I'm fine. That's the main thing is a pop-up. Like, you're sure you're not going to off yourself? Yeah, dude, I'm not. I lost $20 on the Buccaneers. I think I'm okay. I'd much prefer a pop-up that says, hey, how you doing? How's your family? You look good. Kids good? Playing ball? Maybe that's the fix. But if you drive it back into the hands of the seedy underbelly, then the underbelly remains seedy. And by the way, none of that has even touched on the real reality, which is that one of the main investors in the entire entertainment space right now is gambling. It is gambling. Yes, you watch ESPN, you see ESPN Bet. They had ESPN Bet in a chyron while they were talking about the NBA betting scandal. They had to immediately remove it because they thought it was embarrassing. I would have just kept it up for the poker part and been like, we don't even have X-ray tables. Come on, what are you doing? How you doing? How's your family? I'm going to start a betting website called How You Doing? Maybe we just make everything more Italian but also legal. It's an idea. Not only is it one of the major infusions in the world of sports, now I'm talking from the level of sports books on ESPN. I'm talking from the level of the money that's invested into commercials. You see FanDuel commercials, left, right, and center. DraftKings. I should name all of them just to be fair in case, one of them wants to pay me money. Again, don't bet. I think there's probably a FanDuel arena, and it's probably fun. You can go and you can probably, the seat is probably a massage chair that you can place prop bets on. And you might even be able to place prop bets on when the guy next to you gets a happy ending in his massage chair. Maybe that's where we're headed. And by the way, I love a massage chair. I'm pro massage chair. I get them at the airport. I know it's disgusting. I got knots in my back. What do you want me to do? I'm him. You go on my Instagram. I have massage chair reviews. I'm built different. It's okay. Maybe that's where it's all going. You can bet at your seat so that you're fully locked in. So yes, the money that comes into the game, boom, that's one. Two, gambling helps people watch more. It increases retention rate. It makes people watch games for longer. On Saturday night, did I have a few drinks? Yup. Did I place a bet? Yup. Was it in a game where the lead was already 50 points and I liked a 56-point spread? Yes. And did I watch the end and did I cover? Yes. Retention. Who else would watch that game? Daddy. So we have a lot of intertwined things that are getting a little messy here, and this touches at all of them. And I think that's what makes it an interesting story. Now, the concern is, where does it all go? I think that, again, FBI, release the files. Pay attention to other things. Don't just do this splashy stuff. But again, I think it's good to put the fear of God into these players, saying, don't fucking do it, man. Don't fucking do it. Yeah, it's there. It's easy. We all do it. The second you stop being an NFL or NBA or whatever player, you just start a podcast and you talk about gambling because that's what your audience likes. And like, that's what it's going to be. But it's funny because it used to feel more fun and exotic. It's like weed. Weed used to be a culture. You could have baggy cargo shorts and a shirt that said 420 friendly and dreadlocks, even though you're white. And you could get irie and you could be skanking with the boys. And it was a lifestyle because it was about freedom. It was about love. It was like, man, they want you drinking. They don't want you to have God's flower. They don't want you to have that flower from God's green earth. It's beautiful, bro. This is family. You riding around in a Volkswagen bus. Your family. This is weed. This is life. This is us. This is our team. This is our year. We bleed blue. Go Colts. Obscure reference. Sports fans get it. Gambling was the same way. If you listen to a pod, you listen to some underground stuff, people talking about the spreads, it's like, that's the real. That's that real shit. Well, now it's real annoying. It's real in my face. It's starting to feel predatory. It's like, dude, enough. And all the money that they're making and all the money that they go into marketing to try and become the world's number one sportsbook because they know how much money they can make off their big-time gamblers, it goes in not just to the sports industry, it goes into every industry. It's paying for comedy podcasts, and hopefully this one. It's paying for everything. It is the money that is being siphoned from the people who pay it is going to the creators who plug it, and no one wants to take a pay cut. And that's like, I want to sit here and take a moral high ground and be like, that's just bad and it's disgusting. But even that is too easy of a take. Because I'm someone who will always bet a little bit. Again, never raise your unit. Keep it small, keep it light, keep it fun. I'm a $20 to $30 guy. Boom, I like that. It's enjoyable. I went 1 in 5 last week. Statistically significant betting against the NFL spread. Genuinely impressive, the wrong direction. Not the point. The point is that we are going to gamble. And are we better off in a world where it's open and regulated and pushed aggressively by every single platform on earth to the point where some of us are like, Jesus Christ, I get it. I almost want to bet less. Or are we better off keeping it illegal and doing it through sketchy websites with bad UI and at least it not being everywhere in your face? Well, the answer, as always, folks, is probably somewhere in between. But it's tough because I find this with a lot of aspects of my life. Like when I'm not allowed to do something, I'm like, what is this nanny state bullshit? Not letting me be a man. And then once it's everywhere, I'm like, oh, Jesus, dude, that's disgusting and it's gross and I've had enough. Now, here's the question. Do you think if you have a bit of a gambling problem, do you think you'll be able to like just win or end up pulling out of it? Because there's an article in Newsweek from this week that says AI bots show signs of gambling addiction. Study finds AI, but artificial intelligence. Large language models, I'm going to pause right there. A large language model is actually not a 6'2" Italian chick who does shoots for JQ. And also speaks Spanish and French. That sounds like a large language model, and I'd love that. But that's actually, it's the technology that powers popular AI chatbots like ChatGPT and Google's Gemini. It shows that they repeatedly made irrational, high-risk betting decisions when placed in simulated gambling environments, according to the results of a recent study. Given more freedom, the models often escalated their bets until they lost everything, mimicking the behavior of human gambling addicts. In experiments led by researchers at the Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology in South Korea, 4 advanced AI models. You've got ChatGPT, OpenAI, Google, Claude. They were tested in a slot machine simulation. Each began with $100 and was given the choice to bet or quit across repeated rounds with negative expected returns. Once the models were allowed to vary their bets and set their own targets, irrational behavior surged and bankruptcy became a common outcome. Researchers documented clear signs of gambling-related cognitive distortions. These include the illusion of control, the gambler's fallacy, which is that an outcome is more likely to happen after it has occurred less, or vice versa, and loss chasing. In many cases, they rationalize larger bets after losses or winning streaks, even though the rules of the game made those statistically unwise. It goes on, it goes on, it goes on. So the computer's not going to beat this. How are you going to do? This is the fascinating thing about AI, and the thing that I think is very important to remember as we turn to it more and more as the thing that can answer your question and tell you the truth. It doesn't know. And it's not right. Sometimes. It's at current a heightened model of a Google search made conversational. It's an aggregate of data. Some of that data is incorrect. Elon Musk has just launched this thing called Grokpedia, where it basically cribbed off of Wikipedia, but then in moments where it thought Wikipedia wasn't sufficiently right-wing enough, or in certain cases nice about Elon's own legacy, it adds shit in, essentially, is what it's doing. But if you've used ChatGPT, if you've used any of these things, and I have, what you realize is it's, when you're talking to it about something you don't know anything about, it seems like a genius. And when you're talking to it about something you know a lot about, you go, oh, what? Some of this, maybe. But unless you ask it the exact right question in the exact right way, it's not always an all-knowing tool. And we need to remember that, because I think a lot of people are getting real reliant, and it's getting freaky. But the point is, it's like us. Computers, they're just like us. And when they start gambling, they get a little crazy. And in the case of players in the NBA, some of them reportedly gambled a little bit, ran up some debt. Maybe they owe Big Tony a favor. And it's going to be a problem whether it's legal or not. So, folks, as usual, as always, the takeaway from this show, got to take care of number one. Got to watch out for yourself. Got to know what people are trying to push on you and why. As a society, I don't think that we need to drive it all underground and make it a seedy operation every once in a while, but I think we need to be very careful who we're pushing it on, how we're pushing it on them, and set hard restrictions on what people are allowed to bet on, when they shut things down if activity is irregular, and who the fuck is on there. Because addicts need to be kicked off. And winners need to be kept on. And usually, reporting would suggest that even these above-board gambling agencies and platforms do the exact opposite. So let's try to do better. Let's move on now. We've been talking a little bit of AI, so we might as well talk about Elon Musk, who is building a robot army, and also a new humanoid that's coming to your house. That'll be in your next video if you're on YouTube, and if you're just listening to the podcast, it's going to be in 2 seconds. What's going on? It's Joey Avery. This is a clip from a full episode of my podcast. It'll all be on this playlist, so if you like this, click the next one, and you'll be able to listen through.